Hello and welcome back to the Unrehearsed podcast. It is just me here in the studio. Our poor Tasha is sick. Those germs and those kids get to her like no one's business, guys. But she is hopefully going to be with us again starting next week. Next week will be my last week before our Nicaraguan vacation, which I'm really looking forward to. This weird on-off rain, sun, hot weather is crazy, but I absolutely love. Did you guys like have that like 70-degree night where it was just like everyone was having a blast? It's like seasonal depression where like nobody felt that sadness glooming over us. It's been a really long time, but I felt so nice and my bones felt so good. And I was like, I am defrosting. It feels like I'm defrosting. So spring is right around the corner and I literally cannot wait. I know that daylight savings is always like a topic. I hate this on off moving time thing. It's awful to me too. But what I absolutely love about daylight savings is that we get more daylight. I've talked about this before. I'm such a sunshine kind of person. And I know that some people, I've actually met my first person who likes it darker, like sooner. And I was like, what's wrong? You're a vampire. You're a vampire. You can't convince me otherwise because why would you not want more daylight? But I'm really looking forward to switching time just strictly because of the fact that we're actually going to start getting an extra hour or whatever, 2, 3 as it continues on of daylight. Looking forward to a lot of really good fun things to do. And speaking of fun things to do not forget our event coming up on March 28th, our Golden Gate Park event. It is on our Instagram, and we really hope that you can be there. And I'm absolutely just praying and hoping for a really good weather event. It's outside, but we'll survive. I'm positive that my hopefulness will prevail at this point. But we did spend with this crazy weather. We went to Carmel this weekend. Um, I can't resist a spa, guys. Refuge Spa was amazing. It was the first time that I had been there, but it was so good. I loved all the different pools and the area to just kind of sit and the fire pits and just everything about it was so nice. I could spend hours there. It was delightful. I absolutely loved it. But couple of rules that they have is no talking, and nothing with a screen. So no Kindles, no iPhones, no anything with a screen. They even told us that we had to take off our smartwatches. So zero screens. So the whole time you're in there, you're kind of just alone with your thoughts. You're kind of alone with your thoughts. And I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought I was going to have a hard time, to be honest. I was like, what am I going to do for that amount of time? But the detox was so worth it. I mean, it's just like that little period where you can just like and you're always like I felt like I kept wanting to like reach for my phone when I was just sitting there and I was just like put it down, like let it go. And I think that that's so healthy, to just for a day or a few hours to just be like, don't we're not doing this. Put your phone down. Just relax. Everything's gonna be okay. Um, it's because I had to keep reminding myself. I had to keep reminding myself. I don't have my phone. Just be in the moment. Just be in the moment and enjoy like this amazing like place that you're in. It's absolutely beautiful there. All of the hot tubs and all of the cold pools and all of the pools just had all these really pretty water feature waterfalls, and it's really like a nice place to even just kind of stroll around as you're just kind of in between your cycle of water features or the sauna or whatever you're gonna do. But it was a really great time. I had a lovely time, but the weather was a little weird. We got there and the sun started coming out, blue skies. It was absolutely amazing. And then once we started heading back to Carmel, the overcast started and then it started getting drizzly and I was like, dang it. Like I was just hoping for like one good weekend Sunday. But it's coming. It's coming, guys. I know it is. And yeah, I love Carmel. It's been a really long time since I went. I used to love going to the cheese shop. Best place ever for all of my cheese addicts. I love cheese. I could eat, like, I swear, pounds of this stuff, which is probably the reason why I don't go so often, but it is it is just a really good shop full of, I think, like, wines and cheeses, and I think they have, like, another section too, but we just loved going and, like, sampling and trying all these other cheeses that we never would have come across. Because who has the money to go to, like, Whole Foods and, like, go buy, like, bricks of this stuff. I did that, I think, like, once or twice. I think we spent, like, $200 on cheese, and it was just like, "Okay." I was eating cheese for, I wanna say, like, weeks, and I was like, "Oh, this will probably be the last time that I do this. This will be the last time I do this." I'd like, that was too much, but it's a really nice little area just to walk around, and all those cute little shops and all of that, it brings me so much joy. Um but also during the week, or weekend, I was going through, my parents are gonna kill me. I had stolen a stack of photographs from when I was a kid from my parents' house, maybe a week or 2 ago, and and I was going through all of my photos from when I was a kid and, like, growing up and all the things that we used to do, and I started kinda thinking, I was like, when we were kids, we used to travel a lot. My parents were really on top of that. Where, we weren't just sitting at home doing nothing. And, like, of course, we were in the way, way back when age of, like, no computers and no cell phones anyway. But they didn't let us just kind of rot at home. We were always, like, camping or going out on hikes or going fishing and, like, doing all of this really fun stuff. And it just always kept us entertained. I feel like we always had something to do. We were always, on a trip or always go, especially during the summer. The summer was like every weekend, or at least it felt like every weekend we were, loading up the car and we were going somewhere. And, my parents would give us a map and then just be like point anywhere. We're just going to head in that direction and see where we end up. Um, Loved those road trips, loved all of that, like, energy of, like, going and exploring and doing and all of this really fun stuff, and that's kind of, I think, where a lot of my love for, um, just experiences came. I feel like we did so many different things, and I was so blessed as a kid to be able to do all of these things and to explore and see things that a lot of, like, I remember, like, my classmates wouldn't have seen or didn't really know what I was talking about. But it was just kind of like it was a very unique experience that I absolutely am filled with gratitude and, looking back, a lot of nostalgia. But I think that it definitely brought into my life that want and need to always be doing something new, something different, or just, exploring and um just being out in the world and enjoying, just being alive. And so I was, just kind of contemplating a lot this weekend, and those photographs brought a lot back. But I just remember, looking through the photographs and just being like, I don't have a thing right now. And I miss having a thing. I feel like, in different stages of my life, I did a lot of different stuff. When I was younger, we did a lot of the camping, a lot of the fishing. My dad and I would go fishing like every weekend. Friday, Saturday, we were like on the pier fishing. It was my favorite thing to do, is just literally be on the pier all day, all night, fishing for whatever and just hanging out with my dad and whoever else was around. There was, the usual crew that would kind of show up to these places. Um, and then, as I got older, we did different things, right? I was really into music for a little while. Did a lot of, like, the choir and the show choir when I got a little bit older. That was kind of like my thing. I absolutely loved musicals. And that theater, drama stuff. Um, and then in my younger adulthood is kind of when I kept doing the outdoor stuff. We do camping a lot. I started rock climbing. That's where I met Matt. We were rock climbing, bouldering, being out in nature and just doing really fun stuff. We kind of kept on with the fishing. It was just kind of all these outdoor activity type things. Um, then, you obviously, you guys who have been here forever know about my dancing, all of the dancing that we did. And like now I feel like I'm in between lulls. I mean, like, right, we had the car project and we did the dancing, and right now I'm still learning Japanese. But I feel like I'm missing that creative spark, that creative. It was, I don't know, dance was really something for me where I could be creative and also move my body. I feel like moving your body as you get older, it gets a lot harder. Like when you're, trying to look for stuff, it's either, you're going to the gym and running on the treadmill or, like weightlifting is a really big thing now, or has been for a while. But, weightlifting is what a lot of my friends talk about. But I'm just like, I don't ever feel like those kind of activities where it's just like, very, this is structured, very like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and then we're moving on. Didn't ever, I mean, it doesn't allow for a lot of the creative activities. I mean, we talked a lot about, um, goals and things like that, and how we come up with those things. And, in that conversation, we had said, there is people who are really creatively drawn and people who are very athletically drawn. And I feel like, or like logically drawn, I feel like I've always been a little bit more on the creative side. And I feel like right now I'm missing that. I'm missing that creative aspect. I'm missing that like physical aspect of like, going out and doing something. So I've been thinking a lot about what that would look like. Like if I were to pick up, a hobby or a new thing, what that would look like and what I would even go into. I did kind of pick up, and shout out to Vanta Boot Labs. I had custom made ice skates for when I was trying to learn how to ice skate. I absolutely love my boots. I love how they fit. They're amazing. Uh, but I haven't done that in a little while. I started getting into it, then we got really busy and I was like, okay, well, I'm not taking any more lessons right now. And you know how life gets. But I'm like, should I start going back into like ice skating? Ice skating was actually one of my like very high creative like interests, or like physical interests, where I feel like, okay, this is something that I really enjoy. Like just not like turning my brain off for a little while. Um and just being out on the ice and just learning. And I think that that's also kind of a big thing, is learning and trying to, it's like that beginner energy, right? It's like the I'm gonna not be perfect at this, but I'm gonna work at it and it's gonna give me purpose. Like it's going to give me something to do and something to shoot for. And that goal, like a goal of like, well, I want to at least try to do this, and that hard line. I loved ice skating when I was doing it, but I'm just like, I'm also, it's kind of, it's there. It's there where it's kind of feels like it's good enough for me to be like, yeah, I actually might really enjoy doing that again. But also just like my incessant need to like keep trying something, keep trying something new. I've like, Matt laughs at me a lot because he's just like, you and all of your like half done projects. Like I start so much stuff because I get so interested in a lot. And then I'm just like, okay, like maybe I'll just like, I'll put this down for now, but I'll come back to it. I know I will. But along those lines, I also, rollerblading. I do have, they weren't custom, but Avanta Boot Labs also makes rollerblades, and they make the boots, like the whole custom boot. These were absolutely gorgeous. They were a really beautiful like leather brown. And then they have these really like cool, like glowy, glowing, like they light up wheels. And I'm just like, okay, I got on those rollerblades and absolutely cracked my ass in half. It was and I was like, "Okay, I obviously need a lot more practice with this." But that was one of the things that we did when we were kids was rollerblading. I loved doing it. It was so fun. Um, but this isn't rollerblading. This is roller skating, right? With the four wheels. And I was like, I don't think I've ever really had that experience very much. I mean, we always did the blades, so I was never, I don't know, I felt so unbalanced. I felt so uncoordinated for one. But I did put those away for a little while because I was just like, I need to heal at this point. Um, and then the last thing that's also been kind of piquing my interest a little bit is flow arts is like those super cool, either like the fans or like they have like those hoops. Um, but I feel like all of these different hobbies or different things are just, they do have that really heavy physical aspect, but they also, when you really get into it, you get that creative side too. You can, express yourself in different ways and just kind of challenge yourself to do different things. And I think, maybe that's kind of the three that I've kind of been hovering around. Like, maybe one of these I'm gonna be like, "Yes, this is gonna be it." Um, but I also, we're traveling so much right now, and it's like, I feel like I always kind of get into the cycle. It's like, "Okay, I really wanna do something. I really wanna do something." But, like, I also have all this other stuff that I gotta deal with, right? All this other stuff that's coming up, all this other stuff that, it's kind of drawing my attention away. But I think I'm really gonna try it. I think I'm really gonna try to, like, buckle down and pick one of those or, if something else comes up because obviously you guys know me. But I think I'm missing it. I'm missing having um, that thing that you just dedicate to, and I love you guys. I love you guys so much. But this is more this is creative. This is creative, but I feel like it's a different avenue. It's a different avenue. It's not so much like endless expression. It is, something else. It's something all in its own, but I feel like I'm missing the thing. I'm missing a thing. And I also kind of feel like, it's almost like an identity gap. I don't know if you guys have, experienced this, but it's like if you don't have something that you're funneling into, you just fill that space with like noise. It's like you fill that space with scrolling. You fill that space with drama. You fill that space with like whatever's handy to like keep you occupied. It's like if it's not intentional, it's gonna just be noise and it's not gonna contribute anything to your life. Um, so I'm like really trying to be intentional and I'm really trying to be like, really putting my time into something beautiful, into something that's gonna be like something that's not a screen. Something that's not a screen. And I think that thank you, Refuge, for kind of like clicking that into my brain. It's just like doing something that's inspiring and to myself, not to everybody else. I mean, like, falling on my butt while roller skating is not really inspiring. But for myself or, for you and your purpose and your drive of like something new, something that's not like your regular your whole thing, your school, your work, your stuff that you normally do. I can't travel 12 months a year or otherwise. That probably what would be my life is just traveling and trying something new. Um, please let me know if anyone out there knows how to do that. But for now, I need to find a thing. So tell me what your guys' things are. Tell me what you guys get into and tell me if you feel that same way of like kind of getting the itch, like of the itch of doing something or funneling into something. Is it creative? Is it physical? Is it a goal thing? Like, is it puzzles? I'm not too much of a puzzle person. I don't think that I have the attention span for that. Probably because I scroll too much, but it is what it is. But I think that it's also, when you're starting something new out or when you're, kind of starting back from zero, even if you have done it in the past, I feel like if you take a long break, you're going to have to start over. Um, at least to a degree. And I think that it kind of humbles you in a way. I mean, this obviously isn't like, oh my God, genius, and like the only person who's ever put this together. But it is just kind of like it puts you in your place almost. It's just like you thought. You really thought, but let me tell you, because you have to be bad, like in order to get better. And I don't know, there's a certain challenge about it that I think is really important for people to be a part of that, like to have that be a part of your life and to integrate that into your life where you're not always perfect. Things, take some time, it takes practice, it takes determination and effort. Otherwise, you just get stuck in the same routine. You get so good at it that you forget that the rest of the world exists and that you could ever be bad at anything ever again. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing out there. I am genuinely curious. I feel like this revolving door of hobbies has always kind of been my life, and I think it's just because I like to do so much different things, and that there's a lot of really fun things out there in the world, and I mean it's just kind of endless of all these different things. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. My dad, I love you so much, called me one night and was like, "Hey, so like, do you know this spear thing that people use to like fish?" And I immediately was like, "No." No, we're not. Like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, what are you gonna do with that? And he's just like, I need the this and the, it comes in a pole and then the pole and the spear and then the thing with the fish. And I'm like, Dad, go read a book. I was like, Dad, go read a book. Go take a nap. If you're bored, go clean. Isn't that what they used to tell us when we were kids? Like, oh, there's plenty of cleaning to do if you're bored. But it's just, now I know where I get it from. Actually, that's a really funny realization. That is where I get it from. My dad absolutely instilled that in me. Um, and he would absolutely just kind of support every hobby and everything and all the stuff that I was curious about was always just so readily available to me, because I think he was also curious. My dad did do his scuba diving certificate with me at the age of 57 because his crazy daughter wanted to do it. And of course I couldn't do it alone. So he's like, sure, I want to do it with you. So I know the apple does not fall far from the tree, guys. Jeez, that is like the craziest realization ever. Well, anyway, that's kind of what my rant has been today for the last, I don't know, week or so. Just kind of going through these photos and these memories and just being like, I need something more. I need something more in my life right now. And I think that we're gonna go for it. We're gonna find something, preferably something that I already have, so I don't have to buy anything. But if it is, it is, whatever. What are you going to do? Life's short. So let me know what you guys are doing out there. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions as to like what else is out there and what's fun and what we can do. Um, please come to our picnic and tell me to my face what what is out there so that maybe something else will spark. But that is it for this week, guys. We absolutely all love you here. I know Taj is here in spirit, but we'll catch you. We'll catch you in the next one. Mwah! See you later.